what is UPRT? Well, let's have a look at the history. Here's Otto in 1891. He was the poster child for Flight Safety magazine back in 1891. The Wright brothers dealt with loss of control on a daily basis. So this is all working, but that's something we can talk about over a coffee. Wilfred Park. Anybody know who he is? Yeah? Anybody who doesn't know? You don't know? Wilfred Park, the first man to reportedly recover from an unintentional spin. Anybody know who this guy is? Harry Hawker? Yeah? First man to reportedly recover from an intentional spin. And apparently he, but before he recovered from the spin, he landed in a tree patch apparently and was reported to run out of the trees yelling, "I know what to do, I know what to do, if only I had the guts to do it." Which is talking about moving the stick forward while the nose is pointing directly down at the padding. Which, an interesting thing, he actually died in a small spin accident after an engine failure. So, I wrote it there. 1943, there's a US Navy training film called Quick Stalling or Spin In. Anybody seen that? Hands? It's really, really interesting. In 1943, they report that in the 2 years since Pearl Harbor, more people died in training accidents and stall spin accidents than were killed in combat. And if you watch the whole 47 minutes or 53 minutes or whatever it is, they don't talk about angle of attack once, not a word. They talk about airspeed and a little tiny bit about load factor, which tells me that in 1943, they did not understand what angle of attack was. But we do now. And I'm sure that in 50 years' time, they'll look back at what we're doing now and they'll say, oh yeah, you had angle of attack and load and airspeed, but you didn't think about whatever it is we're not thinking about. So we're learning. Air French 447, probably, could we say, I'm not sure what you gentlemen is John Frierson. John, how are you? Talked on the phone lots. Could we say that that's sort of like a trigger point of upset recovery training?
That Colgan.
Yeah, cool. We all know about this one, closer to home, and there will be many, many more, and that's why we're here today. We'll talk about what upset recovery training is. It's not just about going out in the airplane, turning upside down and implementing recovery activities. The majority of this is about awareness and prevention. This is the big chunk of it. Recovery bit is this bit of the funnel. Leads to a loss of control event. So there's a lot of classroom and a little bit of flying. Environmental systems and pilot influences, and they all feed into the bucket, and we'll talk about that now. So everybody knows what this thing is. It's the Swiss cheese. And as per Richard's diagram, which I think was a really awesome one, the traffic light one, awareness, prevention, and recovery. I didn't steal your idea, Richard, you're still tuned in. It's a universal thing. Our Swiss cheese, we have 3 gates to pass through before we enter into a loss of control event. And if we're flying along and we're not aware of what's going on, and we don't know how to prevent it, and we don't know how to recover from it, we are going to end up in a loss of control event. So knowledge, if we can get that ingrained in a primacy, make it common language. And then recovery, well, the old saying, right? A pilot uses superior knowledge and superior judgment to avoid the need to use his superior skill. That's exactly what that is. And that's what we're not teaching people. Regardless of whether they know it all, if they don't know how to recover, it's not going to work. Not time critical, upset prevention knowledge. Current flight training doesn't adequately provide the structure for what we do. Make it better, not more training, just better training. Same message required as a road safety campaign. Don't use your mobile phone in the car while you're driving. Don't pull the stick back while you're flying. Keep the ball in the cage. Keep it in the cage. And recurrent training, and Peter will talk about how GFA combats loss of control with regards to glider flying. It's time critical. You need the upset recovery skills. New Zealand CAA says to have a chance at recovery, the pilot must immediately recognise its soon and separation, know exactly what to do in the right order, and then execute the procedure correctly the first time. How many people, and we're all here, how many people put their hand up, got a guide? I've read about this city, I've read it in the couch, I've seen videos, and the first time they go into a city, they just go, holy shit. Head throws back, oh my God. Every time, right? Everybody's got their hands up, I'm sure. There's only 3 seconds to do all this. And that's if you've got the time and the altitude to recover. 7 seconds. This is a photo frame. 7 seconds. Can we watch that first one, please, Darren? This first one is from a airport camp in the States somewhere. Most of you probably seen it.
Oops, sorry. Wait, I'll close it down. Try it again. That's me, sorry.
Anybody see this one? Hands? Yeah. So from the left, here's a guy, he may have a weight balance issue. Might be practicing VX flying, don't know, but he's clearly on the back of the power curve. And that's it, thanks. Can you just go back to the middle of that one, please, Darren?
About there?
Now, just pause it there for a second. So, the astute in the room will probably note that he's probably started a recovery action, immediately he's done it. But then I think that he's probably gone, holy crap, the world's full of ground, and I need to pull the stick back. And he's just continued. If you watch again, you'll see that there is an entry, and then a slight recovery, and then he re-enters. There he goes, he's over. The aeroplane starts to recover, but then it starts to tuck back in again. Would you all agree with that? Yeah, all right. The next one. Now this one came out 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. It's from in North America somewhere.
Was that... should I just go to the news feed there?
Just close that down and just click the link. Just click the link again. Okay. It may have been taken down. It was work last night. It was the beaver on floats. Did anybody see it? You saw it? There's a beaver on floats, took off, reportedly had 7 people on board, clearly on the back of the power curve, dropped the left wing, and that's it, just stalled stream. 7 people on board, question about weight and balance issues, too early days, too early in the days, but it may have been taken down because of, legal action or I don't know. But it was only, how high would you say, Mike? 100 feet. It was just the nose was up and then he just straight into the water. Amazing. Really wish I could get that first video back. So has anybody got any comments or suggestions, questions? You could have that raised early. I didn't want to, yeah, Colin.
Well, I don't know if it's the right time for it, but your slide previously where you're looking at awareness and then prevention, isn't the aim to get the awareness further up so the prevention becomes unnecessary because you're aware of the situation all the time? And then you go into, if the upset recovery, if you're more familiar with upsets, you don't have an upset anymore. It's normalised.
Well, that's right. So you won't be a source in statistic if you know how to recover from a spin. You won't get into a spin if you don't let the aeroplane yaw and stall. If you don't stall, you won't have to worry about it. You can just carry on. So every scenario is different. Like every accident will be different. And the thing is, if we train people to be aware of it, then that awareness form of the part of it will be long. And then they only need to do a little tiny bit of prevention to correct it. Is that what you mean? Like, the more awareness they have, the less likely they need to prevent it.
How do you have the awareness when you're using 11% of the flight envelope?
Well, this is the question we're here to ask, right? We're training people to 11%.
So we have to get that awareness
100%.
normalised.
Oh, 100%. And that's why we're talking about the same language, and it's just like stall position. How many people here have had people on their initial circuit lesson and there's a bit of wind shear that drops the wing because they're slowing down, and the first thing they do is pull the stick back and opposite aileron, straight back in the corner? No, that's not the appropriate action. The appropriate action is forward and correct the rudder. And by teaching that process from day one, then it's not a problem. It's raising the awareness straight away. I don't know how many people, I did put up a video and I got smashed with it from some people, but out of 30,000 hits, 3 people giving me a hard time was probably a good ratio. I did a video in the decathlon where I slowed it to approach speed, back trim, and just put power on, let it pitch up, and then when it started to drop the wing, I just whacked the aileron over it and just rolled on the flat. And you have the keyboard warriors out there that are zooming in and taking a photo. Oh, you've got pros shooting now. So, well, yeah, because when the nose is pitching down, the pilot is, if he's not a trained pilot and aware, he's going to pull the stick back because these wind streams filling up the plane. This is the problem. But the video was about the inappropriate application of the aileron, not about entering the spin. It was about being aware. But in the video, I then did a recovery procedure exactly the same, except I unloaded it, applied the rudder to correct the yaw, and then it flew away. It was a training exercise. So this is the worst that can happen, and this is an appropriate action. So a lot of people appreciated that.
Paul, you raise a valid point because obviously in our sector we've got this non-intentional spin certification, and so the AC and all the common talk at the moment is about no pro-spin inputs, exactly what you just said. So the people worried say, oh, put pro-spin input. How will you get somebody, it's easy to say no pro-spin inputs, but in reality, in true loss of control, that's exactly what happens every time.
Exactly.
There's some pro-spin input. So if you don't actually explore pro-spin inputs when you're under control and you haven't got startle or even less lower degrees of startle, you will never, ever get outside that 11% box.
And that's a valid point, and I do, on the next talk that I do after lunch, I expect, has anybody heard of the name Robert Smith Barry? I know you do. Hands down from the educated. Oh, yeah, you too. I've heard that, yeah. So it's going to be an interesting journey on the next slide show to talk about the history of flight training. And it talks about exactly what you're talking about, and we'll leave it at that.
The only other comment I wanted to make, you talked about the video where the aircraft goes past on the camera.
Yeah.
The aircraft was probably most likely stalled in a stalled straight, but somewhat balanced flight on the climb out.
Yes.
It was only when the pilot, and we've seen it in numerous videos all over YouTube, when the pilot realises that their flight path and their stalling angle aren't working together, that they're either into terrain, like short takeoff, hills, trees, whatever, that they then put in a turning input. It's when they couple the turning input with the pre-stall condition, that's when we get the problem. And that's probably what that was there. It was really a case of the imbalanced flight happened at a higher angle of attack. Yeah, and look, I've got hundreds of videos and stuff like that and share with you that show it quite clearly.
And that slide that Rich had with the green, yellow, red.
Yeah.
The picture of your, and that was just an awesome slide. Thank you, Richard, for listening.